Why are scientists reluctant to become entrepreneurs?
I think the biggest thing actually is that hasn't been a part of the culture. I think even in the last couple of decades, we see that you go to become a scientist by going to academia, and pretty much your path to your career is to become a professor. And now the biggest thing that we're finding is that 5% of PhDs get professorship positions just because we're not creating new universities all the time.
Only 5%?
Only 5% get a PhD.
So if 100 people graduate today with a PhD, only 5 of them get employment?
As professors.
And what happens to the 95?
So that's a big question, right? And this tension has been built up over time, and now people are starting to realize that when going into a PhD program, 95% of chance they're not going to end up becoming a professor. So they have to start looking at other careers. So traditionally, like industry would be another career to go after. In some cases, even people who think that they want to go into industry are labeled as black sheep when they're going through their grad school, because it's thought of as a purist, as a pure scientist, you have to like contribute knowledge and do it in this academic way. But this is shifting. I say in the last decade, it's been shifting a lot because people recognize that there just aren't enough positions. So let's take our knowledge and curiosity and problem shooting skills and take it into industry where people are doing great scientific advancements and innovation in industry. But industry is still thought of as big companies, so big pharma companies, maybe the oil industry, or and these big companies, you generally have your business departments and your scientists, right? So there's still like this feeling of segregation. For a scientist to think that they can start a company, that idea just is not around. I think in the last couple of years, because of the popularization of TV shows like Silicon Valley and things that really talk more about entrepreneurship in the tech space, and especially in Silicon Valley, where everyone here is already thinking about a startup on the side constantly, that culture is really ingrained here that allows us to think about starting companies, but that's not happening in the rest of the world. And so a part of my job too is to actually go around to a lot of the universities and give talks to PhD students and inspire them to say, hey, you also can start a company. If you have a great idea, why don't you give it a shot? And instead of going and doing your own lab in an academic setting, you're essentially creating your own lab with other folks in an industry setting. You go for VC funding instead of academic grants, but people also, as an entrepreneur, feel like they are contributing more to society because they see the direct application of their science.